We are glad to have all of you in the room today. We are diving deep, as I've said, on AI with this masterclass, focusing on upping our prompts and getting stronger proposals out of that. An amazing speaker who I'm going to introduce more in just a moment. We'll be together for about an hour, and you'll get the recording in your inbox as we wrap up today. As always, please honor your personal needs, but I hope you all will stay for the end for our raffle. A couple of lucky folks will be able to get a month free for ChatGPT Pro. So some of the things we're going to be talking about today require the not free level of ChatGPT. So you'll get a gift card if you'll enter this raffle, and you'll be able to access a month of that to test it out. So we're excited to be raffling that off today. We're hoping that you leave this workshop with 4 main things. Some of your answers to common concerns on AI and grant writing answered. You've got pro-level prompts that Danette's going to be sharing to take your work to another level. We're going to talk about how to customize GPTs for really specific goals. And Danette's going to talk about exactly what that means if some folks are already wondering, what does it mean to customize a GPT? And lastly, you will have an opportunity to dive into Instrumentl if you haven't already, to see a custom-made list of good fit grant opportunities. Hello, Jennifer from Cedar Rapids. Hi, Sally. Great seeing folks continue to say hello in the chat box. Thank you for doing so. My name is Rachel, for those of you who don't know me, though many of you I'm sure do. I work with the events and community team at Instrumentl, and I help host these weekly webinars. I love seeing grant seekers improve their grant seeking practices and just continue to elevate their work they're doing for the impressive nonprofits. So thank you for spending time with us on your Monday. Also really excited to introduce Danette. Danette has 10 years of grant writing experience with an emphasis on combining purpose with strategic funding. She is a corporate and foundation relations manager, and she's a consultant to both secular and faith-based nonprofits. Y'all, if you have not heard Danette's funding for faith-based organizations workshop, it was an incredible deep dive that we did a couple of weeks ago. Highly recommend you check that out if you come from a faith-based organization. And lastly, Danette is a certified pro-level prompt engineer and expert in ChatGPT optimization. She's the owner of Smart Grants AI and Empowered Person AI. So she is just the perfect person to be bringing in and helping us kind of get over some of our fears or concerns about using AI in our grant seeking. I'm really excited to have you. Thanks for being here, Danette.
I'm happy to be here. Thank you.
So I'm going to go ahead and start us off. I'm going to pass the slides over to Danette in just a second. But if folks wouldn't mind sharing with us in the chat box, what's one word that describes how you currently feel about using AI in grant writing? Drop that word in the chat. Love to hear kind of the sense of folks. And Danette can get her slides up while we do this. Love these. Comfortable, excited, a lot of excited. Cheating ? Carrie says. I'm curious what folks think about that. Promising, hopeful, confident, unsure. Absolutely. Yep. Excited, love, says Paul. Hopeful, relieved, game-changing. We'll count that as one word. A lot to learn. Yeah. I think that kind of probably resonates with a lot of folks here, right, Danette?
Yes. 100%.
So I'm going to go ahead and invite you to pop up your slides here and talk about all these different pieces that folks are feeling. I think it's great being in the room with grant seekers who are currently working on using these tools and upping their kind of skill set in this area, because we can all learn together. We can be also like open and honest and transparent about how we're feeling about these changes and the things we're continuing to learn. So this is a great learning space for all of that. Danette,
So,
how are you feeling?
want me to take over?
Yep, you're good to roll.
So thanks everybody for taking time out of our day to join us. We're going to be talking a little quickly through some topics. It may be a little overwhelming for some of you, but that's why I created all these handouts to complement the course. So hopefully you won't feel too overwhelmed, and the handouts will be able to assist you. I'm actually jamming in like 3 hours of a workshop into this 45-minute workshop, but it's going to be great. So AI, it's not, it's really important that people kind of go in open-minded when you start talking about using AI and how it will help you pro-level prompt, how it will take your work to a whole new level. It seriously is a competitive edge that you need now. A source that I just read about recently, a nonprofit Tech for Good, their trends report, said that nonprofits that are using AI and grant writing right now are reducing their work time by up to 50% and increasing funding success by as much as 40%. Now, once you start doing this, I think they're going to reduce their work time by way more than 50% because that's been my experience. So learning to use AI will make you stronger, smarter. It will actually do take you away from the busy work and allow you to focus more on your people, your mission, your purpose. It's actually very, very exciting. So I want everyone to just realize, those that aren't familiar with AI, you hear a lot of scary things. It's going to take over people's jobs and et cetera. It might take over some people's jobs, but that's what happens with revolutions, with, technology and things like that. But this isn't about replacing people. This is to give you a smart tool to help you do your job better. And it's also about being curious. So I started training AI, ChatGPT about 2.5 years ago because I was curious. And when you're curious, what I've come to believe is that a curious mindset encourages, continuous learning. You discover new things. You become adaptable for changes. And when you're curious, you dig deeper and you uncover insights that others miss. So I want you to be curious. I want you to be curious about how you can use AI to do better in your work and really make a difference. And I'm also going to talk about the most common questions. So when I give these workshops, a lot of people often ask, well, is AI ethical? Is it allowed? And I always talk about upgrading to the paid membership to ChatGPT for $20 a month. And Rachel mentioned some generous raffles. Well, we're going to go raffles to help people pay that. But I will tell you right now that I would not be honest with you if I didn't say that you should upgrade. I do not get any I don't get any money for it. Why you want to upgrade and why you want to learn ChatGPT before any other AI is because you will learn foundational skills that you can apply to any other AI you will learn. ChatGPT is very, very easy to learn. Let's see here. It will help you build an understanding and literacy tools to use with any other AI tool. And I know some people are really concerned about AI, but no one's going to fret technology away. So as soon as you start building this confidence and using AI to benefit yourself, you'll be excited about it and you'll be less fearful. And once you learn how to customize GPTs, you're going to be able to take that skill and create tools, and really in every part of your life, not just your work life, but in every part of your life to help you do better. And that's why I always say upgrade. I'm going to talk more about why that's important. Okay, it'll be your smartest hire you ever make, because a common question is, well, I already do inputs and ask questions and I use ChatGPT. But you're really just playing with it if you're not customizing your own GPTs. And I'm going to talk quickly through some of these things because we're going to go live on. I'm actually going to show you how to do that so you can watch me do it, pull up on your computers and do it with me if you want. But what's different about is that when you customize a GPT, you can train it to be anything you want. Whatever you need, an assistant in any part of your job, at any part of your life. You don't have to worry about burnout. You get rapid return on investment. You can tailor it to your voice. And when you upgrade, you will always have the most advanced model of AI. So people that aren't upgrading don't even have the fastest, best use of AI. They're really just playing with it. You can upgrade custom GPTs, as I said, to enhance every part of your life. You cannot do that if you don't upgrade. So for $20 a month, you can create all these little Einsteins to keep in your back pocket. It's really amazing. You have extraordinary amounts of memory to upload documents, anything you need when you're trying to build a knowledge base, which I will show you how to do that. And you can have unlimited amounts of charts, images that it will build for you. You can actually create videos when you upgrade, actual professional videos. And then it just makes you, it just creates skills, future-ready skills, because AI is not going away. And right now, I think it's easy to learn. I don't know if that's going to change, years from now, but all I know is that you want to learn it now, and you want to learn how to make it work for you. You want to go into this open-minded and think, how can learning AI add value to my life? That's what I did. It was really great. So we're going to talk about responsible AI use and grant proposals. And the most important thing, and I have a handout on this to dig in this really deep because I'm going to go through this really quickly, but you want to think of AI as your research assistant. So to help you organize information, suggest structure, save valuable time, but the core of the work and insight, empathy, storytelling, strategic decision-making, that remains firmly in your hands. So the handout that you have will summarize the concerns and outlines and some best practices. So I'll just skip over some of those. But what should AI do in the grant workflow? And that's what I'm going to show you firsthand. So I'm going to be skipping over this quickly because you will hear these terms again when I go live on to do this. But it can be your research assistant. You can teach it to do all your busy work. It accelerates drafting, editing. It identifies gaps, missing information. It's truly incredible. So when you accelerate drafting, so AI tools like ChatGPT, they can actually initiate, the first drafts of your grant proposals. So it can help you overcome blocks. I like to use it to help me align funding opportunities with the mission for my clients. And once it aligns it, it helps me to draft a statement of needs. And because I have these customized GPTs, I can say, what am I forgetting? What's our contrast to help us stand out from other applications? I can honestly say I have above 90% success rate for grants. And it's because I know how to use AI to peer review, and I'm a pro level prompter, which you will be after this course, this workshop. And it really, really does make a difference because, as I said, you will be customizing a GPT to be your very, very, very smart assistant. And so what AI should not do, it shouldn't replace human judgment. It's final decisions and critical thinking have to remain with the human experts. And it should not handle sensitive information unchecked. They can't guarantee privacy 100%, nothing can. I will tell you, for those that don't know, I feel very comfortable with privacy and safety with ChatGPT. Anything that leaves your device and goes to OpenAI is encrypted. They don't attach names, information, or anything like that. Unlike when you go on Google and ask something, you have ads that follow you around for months on that topic. So clearly it's not encrypted like ChatGPT is. And you don't want to operate without oversight. So you always want to be able to review it for accuracy and relevance. So now we're going to talk a little bit about how to prompt like a pro. So there's a handout for this too. But first thing I need to do is, I'm not sure if any of you ever heard of the term hallucinations. You can put it in the chat if you have or haven't. But a lot of people are afraid to use AI because they've heard that it hallucinates. And what does that mean exactly? That means that it makes things up. It can generate false, misleading, or fabricated information, and they sound real, but they're not real. I'm going to show you how to prevent that. If somebody gets a made up output, it's because the input was bad. It was a bad input. It wasn't well done. So I'm going to show you how not to make that mistake. And I believe on the handout, I give an example of that as well. So how to prevent AI hallucinations. You should use prompts with clear context, specific instructions, tell it to cite data, and feedback option. So I'll show you this firsthand, but this is a pro level tip that you should all write down. When you are customizing a GPT, and I'll repeat this again because it's that important, you will ask it, when you're giving it instructions on who it is and what you want it to be, you will tell it that you will never fictionalize. You will always provide sources. You will always ask questions if you need more information. I'm sure I have that on the handout. If not, I apologize. But that is one thing that you 100% want to put in every single customized GPT, and then you don't have to worry about that. So here's an example of a prompt template that would prevent hallucination. You're a grant writer drafting content for your name. Summarize the need for this program using real verifiable data. Do not fictionalize, cite all sources, and ask clarifying questions if additional information is needed. I like to tell people what you want to do is you want to look at your customized GPT like it's someone you're onboarding for your work. What information would you give someone that is learning about your work, your organization? That's the knowledge base you want to build with your custom GPT. So frameworks are super important. And when you think in a framework, the thing that I like about frameworks is they really force, I think, strategic and critical thinking. So you want to treat your prompt like a blueprint. You want to use a clear, structured steps. So think about, like, if you want to give a prompt and say you want a recipe, instead of saying, hey, make me something delicious, you want to talk about, what you want in it, what you don't want in it, how do you want it to taste, things like that. So without instructions, prompts are vague and you will get generic and inaccurate results. But I'm going to teach you how to break your prompts into specific points. And the handout that I gave you has different examples of frameworks. And I do lots of workshops just on frameworks around to help organizations with that. But I did give some pretty good examples on the handout that should help you get started. So why frameworks matter? So when you're able to learn how to think in a framework matter, to think strategically, a lot of people are worried about AI dumbing people down. And in some senses it will, but you could say the same thing about calculators. I mean, I remember calculators came out. I'm one of the older people from his workshop, but people were freaking out about calculators dumbing down people. But it didn't. For some people, actually helped them be smarter. I think the same way about AI. When you use AI to its fullest capacity, as in customizing GPTs, now you're being strategic. Now you're thinking critically, because whatever you want it to do, it can do that for you. So when you're actually working with a tool that will do anything you want it to, wow. I mean, you will think strategically because you will get from here to here by thinking that way. So you want to to give it a roll, and we're going to go through this in real time. So I'm going to kind of skim through this. Give it a specific goal, provide context, and limited scope. Again, do not fictionalize, that kind of thing. So again, just to repeat, you start with an outcome, you give it a role, or you can start with the role and say, you are this. And when you are customizing a GPT, and when you're actually even just using ChatGPT, always use your manners, please and thank you. When OpenAI started working with and creating ChatGPT, it was in 2015, and they've trained it with trillions of words, but they knew that in the future, this is going to be the way people work. So they didn't want people to lose their manners. So you do get better outputs with your manners. So use please and thank you. So here's an example framework, think in action. You're a grant strategist, writing a 250-word summary for blah, blah, blah. This is for a federal grant application. Use persuasive evidence-based language, demonstrate alignment with funders, do not fictionalize, cite sources when possible. So this is where it gets great. And this is where I credit this skill and this tool for my very, very high grant success rate. Is I have customized GPTs where they actually serve as peer reviewers to big funders. For example, you are a trustee for Otto Bremer, review my grant, et cetera, et cetera. I've gotten extraordinary feedback. Once you customize a GPT around your nonprofit or your client's nonprofit, and when you upgrade, you can make 1 million customized GPTs. You're not limited. That's the cool thing too. So once you upgrade that knowledge base, it gets to know your organization so well. Now when it peer reviews, it will remind me, hey, you guys do this really well. You should emphasize this in this section. Or I'll say, how can I contrast to other applicants? Am I talking about everything we do well? Am I talking enough to mirror the language of this funder? So I'll show you how to do that. It's pretty incredible. But you can't do that if you don't upgrade. You cannot peer review your grants for just 20 bucks a month. That's why you should do that. So you can ask the grant reviewer, you put in your name based on the following proposal. I will always upload, the proposal. And then I will say to provide a critique, excuse me, and then say, does my narrative, align with their language? Am I complimenting their language? And then have it score a 10. And if you get the rubric, sometimes you can get their actual how they check your grant against their giving priorities. Upload that and say, hey, run my grant against this and tell me how we qualify. It's pretty amazing what it comes up with. It's important to remember that when you customize these GPTs and you upload the knowledge base, teach it all these things, you still are working with an assistant that can think better and smarter and has different, it doesn't have life filters. It's not worried about paying bills. It's not worried about deadlines. And so it really does think and recognize things that you might not, just because, we're humans, we got things going on. So these are some other ways, and I'm pretty sure this is on the handout I gave you guys. If not, shoot me an email and I can send some of these to you. So you want to, you can tell, evaluate grant proposal using following criteria, or you can ask it to check for consistency between activities. Ask it to make sure your budget makes sense. You can actually put in your budget, your numbers, and ask it to create a budget. One thing that I love using my customized GPTs for is to help me get general operations funded. And I know that's a big thing. People think you can't. Yes, you can, because gen ops make the wheel on the bus go round and round. It's silly for foundations to think they're not going to fund general ops. My gosh, it's crazy. But what you want to do is your optimized GPT can help you, word, because now it's becoming commonplace for funders to give you a chance to provide narrative around your budget. So for example, I will have to list like my position in all the grant budgets, but I don't put down grant manager. I'll note myself as staff person who manages grant terms, staff person who reports back to foundation, however you want to word it. But your customized GPT, because it knows the funder, because you've educated it, can help you with that language when you're writing your budget narrative. And if you have questions about that too, we can talk about that at the end. So I also want you to avoid AI tells. This makes me nuts. I won't read articles on LinkedIn or anything with people of all these when I know they just cut and pasted things. It makes me crazy. Overuse of long dashes. You've probably seen that on a lot of that. Do not submit grants with long dashes. And then just double check that there's not a lot of repetitive phrases and polished language. You always want to humanize, localize, and personalize your any content that's submitted. Because here's the golden rule. So AI is a brainstorming partner. It's not your final writer. So I want you to remember that golden rule. It's a brainstorming partner, not your final writer. But it is a great editor. I'll tell you that right now. Okay, so now we're going to do a live walkthrough on how to create a GPT that mirrors that. So I'm going to now go down here, exit full screen, and go over here. Rachel, does anyone have any questions before I go into this?
We have quite a few, but I've been keeping track
I can't
as
see
we
the chat.
go.
I apologize.
No, and don't worry, I'm keeping track of everyone's questions. I'm thinking what you can do, Danette, is go through your walkthrough now, and then let's hold time for a more formal Q&A session.
Yes,
And
so
then
we're going through, we have a lot of time, and I apologize. I know I'm going way too fast, but like I said, this is a 3-hour workshop.
No, there's so much to cover, and you're doing a great job giving us some overview. So I really want to see you put it into action. I think that'll be helpful for folks to see it.
Okay. All
Yeah.
right. Okay. So now everybody, I'm going to give a quick dashboard review for those that aren't familiar with the dashboard. So people that are able to, I encourage you just go to chatgpt.com. If you have an upgrade subscription, you'll be able to see some of what I have on. If not, then I can show you the difference on what you can't see because you're not upgraded. So this is the dashboard on chatgpt.com. Now, if you're upgraded, you have an opportunity. Why I love it is that you always have the latest and greatest model. Now, ChatGPT is about to release ChatGPT 5, which is supposed to tip the world on its head. I'm not sure why, but it's supposed to be amazing. People that are using ChatGPT in all the ways you can will find ChatGPT 5 to be probably amazing and incredible. And people that haven't, it's going to be even harder to get caught up. So I recommend that today be the first day of the rest of your AI enhanced life, because it's not going away. So when you upgrade, you get access to all these different models. 4.0 is very common. It's a really good one. It's the latest and greatest. 0.3 is advanced reasoning. And then you have 0.4 mini. So the difference is that these minis are really fast. 0.3 might take 10 minutes to come up with an answer for your question. When I talk about customizing GPTs and creating like an assistant or someone that's, really good at creating, crock pot, gluten-free recipes, whatever it is you want, you don't give roles to these things here. Only with ChatGPT 4 would you like actually create a role. The rest of these you just click on and you can type in any old question and you'll get a great output. You still want to use your framework and think strategically because you will get a great answer. So over on this side, if you're not upgraded, you won't see all of this. And I will say every time, it seems like once a week I open this up, there's all these new things on here. One example is this, I don't know if you can see this Codex, C-O-D-E-X. That is all about coding. I haven't played with that yet, and I might not because I don't think I'll ever need it. But Sora is something that upgraded people can use, and that is the video making GPT. And GPT, for those that don't know, stands for generative pre-trained transformer. So Sora can build videos. So you can go in there and say you need a video on any kind of a thing or a topic or subject, and it's going to make a video for you. It's really, really fun. New chat is when you click on and you want to get a new chat going here. You can search old chats here. Library stores your downloads of pictures and things that you have. What this is, so this over here, my messy dashboard, these are all customized GPTs that I have on my dashboard right now. And what's cool about this, when you do upgrade, if it's not too late, I always encourage people to use a personal email, because once you start customizing GPTs, I can promise you almost 100% surety that you'll be using it for every part of your life. And if you ever quit your job, you can switch credit cards, but you can't switch emails. You would lose everything that you've ever customized. So I really recommend that you do that. And if your company won't pay the $20 a month, you can tax deduct that as a tax deductible expense. So I really recommend it. So these are the GPTs. So for example, I was in Rome in March and I created a customized Roman travel planner. It was incredible. I had it on my phone and I went to the forum and it talked me through all the major sites. It was pretty spectacular. So over here, you have these little dots. So let's say you do start customizing and you have to share your screen or someone's coming in, or you want to hide a sidebar from your kids or something. I don't know. You can hide them from here. You can click on this and it hides it from the sidebar. So these can go away. What's down here? This is really cool. This is somewhat new from last month. They put this up. You can actually categorize conversations and past projects into one project, which is so cool. These are all the chats that happen from over here. So whether I go on, let's say if I go on a customized GPT here. I go on this one, and I start writing on it over here. This is going to show up over here. So no matter what I use, I can go on new chat, I can go back to my 4.0. Everything shows up over here. And today, so it starts with today, and then it goes down to last week, and then I said, mine goes back to 2 years ago. It's a disaster. So I won't scroll too far down. But what you can do is, let's say you come up with a really great conversation over here. You want to save it, like this is good morning greeting. So what that is that in my car, when you upgrade, you can also use chat on your phone. And I talk to it back and forth. And I actually was talking through this workshop on the way into work this morning I'm going to talk about this. What should I make sure that the participants, leave understanding? It was pretty incredible. So I can go in there, I can rename this, and I can call it something else. But right now I didn't do that. So you can go on. Let me go back up over here. Library. Hang on. New chat. Okay. So you can go over here and you can, excuse me. Here we go. You can share it. Sharing's really cool. So I actually do this with people so my clients, they can share a conversation with me. I can help them with prompts, do whatever. Or you can share with your husband if you're doing something family related, or you can share with a coworker. You can rename it. You can add it to a project work. So right now I have worksheet development, but if I had a new project, I could share it to that. You can archive it, or you can just delete it. So that's how that works. Over here is where you can upgrade your plan, all the tasks. These are all the GPTs I have. You can create a GPT from up here, but I'm going to show you another way to do that. These are your settings. You can go in your settings here, and this is where you can change how you do things. You can delete all your chats if you want. You can archive all your chats. For security, you can log out of your devices. You can do multi-factor authentication, personalization. So here's where you can, if you're worried about OpenAI or someone getting, using your stuff, which I wouldn't, because frankly, we really can't train it anymore. It's been being trained since 2015 with trillions of words in multiple languages. I don't think there's anything I could do on ChatGPT where it's going to change it up or they're actually going to need it. But if you don't want it to, you can click those off, but I don't bother doing that. So now you can click on and go back up here, and this says GPT. So I click on this. Now, when you click on GPTs, what's really cool is that they're always going to pull up other GPTs that people are working on. And I'm sure that some of you work with Canva. And this is really cool because Canva, you heard like saying that, oh, Canva and ChatGPT had a baby. Well, if you click on Canva, Canva actually opens up into ChatGPT. So I can start a chat. And now it's here and now I can pull things from here, or ChatGPT will help create the copy, and it will have it formatted for Canva to go onto my Canva account. It's really cool. But now I'm going to go back out of that. So these are all things you can look at. You can click on any of these things up here. If you're looking for GPTs that already exist, you click up here. I'll be honest with you, I never go through these. I like making my own, but some of these are fun to look at. Now, once you start creating GPTs, you're going to click on My GPTs, and then they're all going to show up here. All of these are things that I've been working on. Now, you can go over here and I can edit the GPT, or let me go back, or I can go over here and I can delete it. Now, this is really important to know, and I'm going to show you this step, but you can customize these GPTs, but after you're done customizing the GPTs and you want to change something, that's very easy to do. You can actually unteach it or unlearn it. I don't know if those are words there now. I just used them. But you can unteach it something that you taught it before. A really good example is that I had working on a very complicated grant with 2 organizations, very large amounts of money involved. And the funder then decided they wanted the grant split up. I had 24 hours to split up a grant, hundreds of thousands of dollars. split up the budgets, everything. If I would have had a customized GPT, I wouldn't be writing grants right now. It would have been impossible. But I went in and said, okay, I need you to separate this grant into these parts. We're no longer going to use these numbers from this lab, et cetera, et cetera. And it did it for me. It was incredible. And I was able to resubmit it 4 hours early. And I got a note from the foundation saying, Danette, you're a superhuman, which is hilarious. I'm not, but I never would have been able to do that without my customized GPT. And we got the grant. So the fact that I had this tool help 2 organizations is going to help a bunch of kids and a bunch of single parents. So that's another reason why you want to be curious, you want to learn AI, and you want these tools because you are doing the greater good. And so you want to be prepared here. So now what I'm going to do is I'll go back over here just to show you. I'm going to go back over here and hit create. And now I'm going to show you how to actually customize a GPT, what I was talking about. So when you hit create, sometimes it's going to show up on here. Just hit this little tab and go to create. And that just says, hey, I'm going to help you build whatever you want. I have some pre-done little prompts for you. And if you have trouble doing this after this workshop, you can always reach out to me and I'll help you with some of these, but let me copy this. So right now, the first step is you want to define the GPT's role and its purpose. So I'm going to put in here, you're a professional nonprofit grant writer with 10+ years of experience. You don't have to get that detailed with your experience, but I just did that. Your job is help me write compelling grant proposals, LOIs, impact reports. You follow best practices, adaptive funders, voice priorities, and guidelines. Okay. Now, sometimes when I help people, I just like to say, okay, what problem do you want to solve with this customized GPT? And then we might just say, you are this thing first. And then we'll say, you specialize in grant proposals, you specialize in LOIs, you specialize in peer review. But we don't have a lot of time, so I'm doing it this way. Then you hit this little button here. And now it's going to update the GPT you see right here. And then it's going to come up with a name for me to use. And remember on the dashboard and all those names on there with little pictures, it's going to create that right now for us. See, I gave it a big role, so it's taking a little while longer. I apologize. Okay, so there it is. It's an okay picture. You can actually say, hey, I want bright colors, whatever. So now it says, okay, now it's going to create so it's grant writing expert gave me a picture. Now I want to teach it my mission and audience. Okay, so I'm going to get my mission right here. So I like to say it. I'm going to say so I'll use where I work for now. You work for the greater Minneapolis Crisis Nursery. Let me get my quick, I'm going to show you what happens here. This is a really important piece. So we're going to give it, I'm going to give it the website. And then you're going to see what I'm going to ask it to do next. It's really cool. Well, this is not, hang on 1 second. I apologize. So let's say you don't have the website. I'm having trouble pulling it up because I have too many monitors up. But let's see what it does here now. Let's see if it can reach it on its own. Sometimes it's able to access the link on its own, just telling it what it does. Okay, so now I'm going to say, please provide a summary on what you know about Greater Minneapolis Crisis Nursery. So I was able to pull it up. It was see right here, I was able to pull up the website and everything on its own. So now it gave me the mission, the core model, what we do, our impacts, our outcomes. So this is really cool. This is actually something new. It never used to be able to just pull things up on its own. You used to have to give it a lot more information, but it's becoming smarter and faster. So if you're working with an organization and you don't have access to something, just ask it. It might be able to access it on its own. So now it knows all of these things. And so it's going to, so I'm going to, now I'm going to say, I'm going to give it best practices. This is really important too. So I'm going to ask it. And then I'm going to give you a really important pro level prompt that you have to write down because it's a game changer. So now I'm telling it for best practices, I said, I want you to use the funder's language, begin each section with clear topics, provide data, use SMART goals, tie every program. And now it tells me that it understands that. So now the principles are embedded as core guidelines. So this is really important because everything you tell it, it remembers it. I gave a workshop to some United Way staff members, and they went in and instructed it, for example, whenever it edits copy, to make sure that Black community is always capitalized and things like that. You can go in and get very, very specific on things that it needs to do. Okay, now this says I could go on and on and on and build a knowledge base. I'm not going to because we won't have time for questions. But what you can do now is you can upload your impact reports, previous grants you've written, and you can say, sound like this when you write grants, and upload that. Now, but this is the most important thing. I want you to write this down, okay? This is super important. You're gonna say, what else can you do in this role that I did not think to ask? And Rachel, I apologize because I can see I'm going over time, but okay,
You're
so
good.
look at all these other things that it can do. So this is amazing. Imagine if you had to hire someone that could do all of these things. And even if you can do these things, I can tell you from experience that your customized GPT can do it better. So now I'm going to say, add these to your knowledge base, and then I'm going to get to questions here. Add this to your knowledge base. Then I just need 2 more seconds, Rachel, and then I'll give it back to you.
You're
Apologize.
all good. Take your time.
There's just a lot to talk about here. So now it's going to add all this to my knowledge base. So now that it's done, here's what you can do next. You're going to go to configure, and now you can change the name if you want, description. But here's what's cool. From the little things that I asked it to do, look at all the stuff that it does. So it tells you everything it can do. So then you can go change it. Then when you scroll down, these are called conversation starters. It creates them for you. You can add your own here. This is really important to know. If you want to go into a GPT you customize and you want to think, geez, did I ever upload an annual report from this year? It will show it here. So you'll go not from create, you're going to go into configure, and you'll scroll down here, and everything you uploaded shows here. And then always check off this box, because if you ever upload a PowerPoint, it needs to be able to read the coding. And if you ever want to go and completely change the description, just hit create new action. Here's something very important. It has a preview slide. If you preview one of these, it does not save. You'll have to cut and paste it. So if you like what it says here and you like these, just go to create. Now you hit only me, or you can share it with someone, or you can actually sell it on the store. You're gonna hit save, and I'll show you what happens next. View GPT. It's going to show up over here. I don't know if I can find it because I have so much stuff over here, but here's something that happened with one of my clients this week. She couldn't find any of her GPTs over here. It's because her cookies were full. So if you have a problem where you can't see conversations or that, go clean your cookies. So do you want me to stop sharing now, Rachel?
There's so much to still go
I know, I
through.
apologize. I know everyone's like, oh my gosh, they're all flustered. I get
Well,
that.
there are a lot of questions. So I really do want to honor, and here I'm going to pop up next to you. Let me.
So should I stop sharing?
Yeah, why don't we stop sharing for a second? What I wanted to show really quickly, because one of the questions actually Mary had asked in the beginning of the program was, Danette, do you feel like you need Instrumentl and ChatGPT to accomplish some of the grant seeking you're doing? So I want to highlight that really quickly, and then I want to dive right back into Q&A, because I think a lot of the things people were asking kind of will round out what you shared, plus what's still lingering for folks.
Yeah, so that's a great question. So I will say that I have 2 business partners, Instrumentl and ChatGPT. and they're amazing. So what I love about Instrumentl is that it does the busy work of vetting, which I hate to do. So it finds me grants for all my clients. And then once they align them for me, then I'll go to my customized GPT and say, okay, now align this with our mission. How do we align? It saves me extraordinary amounts of time. I highly recommend Instrumentl, ChatGPT, both are tax deductible. Does that answer the
Yes.
question?
Yeah, I think it does. And I think the thing that Mary was asking, I think goes into something we had talked about here is like, okay, what are the next steps? Because probably some folks are like, oh my gosh, I have so much possibility. But also, how do I apply that to what I'm working on right now? And so you had suggested trying 1 to 2 of these frameworks that you were proposing in your real grant workflow this week, right?
Yes.
And then reviewing and revising your AI policy. You can speak to that for a second if you want, and then testing your frameworks, gathering feedback from your team, and then refining that approach.
Yeah, so I gave you guys a handout that talks about ethics and AI. Let me find that here. Which one was that again?
Is that the main handout? The
Yeah,
AI?
that was the main handout. I highly recommend the main handout that Rachel gave, because in there, so I actually just released an ebook and it's only $7 because I want people to be able to afford it. But I deep dive into the whole AI ethic part. But as you start to use this, you are going to want to have some strategy and guidelines and boundaries around AI use with your development team. I gave some examples of that in that main handout. In my ebook, I give even more and talk about how to set up, for example, guidelines around these are the only words we're going to use. These are the inputs we use every single time, so people stay on message, so people sound the same, because it is going to become the way. Now, I will say that I haven't seen many foundations yet require AI disclosures, but I also give examples on what does an AI disclosure look like. So what I want for all of you and for all of my clients is that when that time happens, you're going to have an AI policy in place. You're going to have a disclosure that's written. It's going to be board approved. You're going to be able to just include it. You don't want to be writing a grant at 10 o'clock at night like I do sometimes. And oh my gosh, I need this. What the heck? You're going to be ready. It's going to be done. And that is what I'm hoping you get out of this workshop, besides frameworking and all the hundreds of things you talked about, is really think about getting an AI framework in place. And there are lots of examples on that sheet. Does that answer your question, Rachel?
Yes, it does. Thank you. Yeah, there's a lot there. And I think that, folks can walk away with like, okay, where do I start? Think about using this worksheet as a way to guide your organization to the ethical and intentional use of AI. And then really quickly, I just wanted to highlight, kind of when we look at using this with an Instrumentl, and Mary had asked, can some of what Danette is sharing be done through Instrumentl's Apply Advisor? For folks who are unfamiliar with the Apply Advisor, this is essentially an integrated AI tool that's new to Instrumentl. It's for folks that are on the Pro plan and up, and it essentially will help you draft applications. Many of the tips that Danette shared today are kind of the way that the custom AI has been built within Instrumentl. It's essentially helping you resurface information from past proposals. So you would upload in your documents that you've worked on before, and you've gotten like a killer proposal. You're like, yeah, this one's great. It just needs to be exactly rewritten in the words and vocabulary for this new funder, right? So that's the way the Apply Advisor functions. It's just integrated into the Instrumentl platform. So, I encourage you, if you haven't explored Instrumentl before, Danette and I were talking as we got started, actually, and I told her I would use her organization as an example. You can actually see how Instrumentl has more kind of AI functions integrated into the tool more now than ever. And some of this is something that you can practice between using ChatGPT for. So if you're not a current Instrumentl user, you can, use the same principles, but Instrumentl is not integrating a lot of that. So for example, when you create your first project, and for folks who want to follow along, actually, who haven't tried Instrumentl before, you can feel free to do that here. I copied Danette's organization kind of funding prompt here. Tell us what you're fundraising for. And so again, I'm using her organization, the Greater Minneapolis Crisis Nursery. I'm asking Instrumentl to generate keyword descriptions here, but you could do the same thing within ChatGPT, right? Upload your statement of need and then ask it to generate search terms, the best fit keywords. For this one, for example, we might indicate crisis intervention, right? Family services. Sounds like Danette's organization helps support child welfare services, childcare, and then we can see what Instrumentl will surface for the types of grants we want to be pursuing. For folks who have set up a project before, this is all kind of a no-brainer, but you're going to basically be going through and adding in more information about your organization. I'm not going to spend too much time here because I know we have a lot of questions we want to cover. I'm going to do it everywhere in Minnesota. See, okay. And then maybe we're looking for grants for 10K and up. Oops. So we'll see what Instrumentl surfaces here, and you can use that to help you guide some of your searches that you want to do over this next week. If anything you're feeling from Danette's workshop today is kind of fueling you, like, gosh, I have so much I want to look for. I'm hoping so. You can use Instrumentl to help you get kind of even like 10 steps ahead, right? Finding new funders that you may have not been already aware of. Looks like from that prompt, we now have 339 grants to sort through. This is a great way for you to start finding new grants so then you can apply some of Danette's amazing strategies moving forward. I love to hear it, Laura. I'm a big fan too, but I'm a little biased. All right. I do want to get to questions because I know we have a lot. If folks want to stick around, I'm here, Danette's here. We'll spend extra time on Q&A today. I know we're going to get to the top of the hour and folks are going to have to hop, but I want to hold this space for folks. So we'll hold the room open for an additional 10 minutes. And Danette, I'm going to do a couple of housekeeping things and then we'll get into the Q&A. For folks who do need to hop, I want to make sure you get to enter our raffle. So what you'll do is when you exit the Zoom webinar, you will actually see a survey pop up. That's the easiest way for you to enter the raffle. You can also give yourself an extra raffle entry by dropping a comment on LinkedIn at this post, which I'm going to drop into the chat box. Thanks, everyone. So feel free to share. I've just invited folks to share one framework that you're excited to try that Danette introduced to us today. That's going to get you an extra raffle entry. And then lastly, we'd love to see you at any other upcoming events that we have. We've got a few coming up. We're doing one focused on CRMs and then another one on kind of finding good fit funders. So please join us for those if you are not already on our events list. With that, I love seeing all the great feedback in the chat. Thanks, folks. I'm going to start moderating our Q&A, and I'm going to actually stop my screen share so we can just have both of us here in conversation together. Ah, love that, Jenna. That's so exciting. Okay. Francine was talking about as a consultant, do you tell your clients you are using AI? Do you disclose your use of that in your contracts? And do you charge the same or less now that you're using AI?
Well, that's a really good question. You know, on the handout, I think I talk about some of those disclosures. I haven't yet, but because what I do with my clients is I actually will teach them how to use it in their job too. So, well, here's an example. So I had someone contact me the other day, actually from another Instrumentl workshop. That was really lovely. They wanted to hire me as a consultant, but what I told them was that, well, I can teach you how to customize a GPT so you don't need to use me anymore. Now, you may not want to do that. You don't want to educate yourself out of a job. But with the way AI is going, I could actually train you to do what I do to help organizations use AI versus using people. It sounds weird, but there's a market out there. They need the training. Otherwise, if they don't ask, you don't need to tell. Your job is to get the results they're paying you to do. If they have in their contract, they'd want to know, no, but I mean, you wouldn't tell them before if you're Googling something or or going to the library, look something up. So I don't think there's any reason to do that now.
That's a great point, Danette. I like Tony's mention in the chat too. Charging less diminishes the time and effort you spent to upskill
Yeah.
and make you a better
Yeah,
grader.
yeah, yeah. Never charge less. We don't get paid enough. So do not charge less. And when you start to create these tools, you're doing them a huge favor because you're being more efficient. You're writing better grants. You're gonna be able to peer review grants. You're gonna have bigger wins for them. They should pay you more because you're doing the job of 100 people now. Yeah, never less. Nope.
No, I think that's a great comparison there. Another question for folks who are consultants in the room. Stacy had asked, what's the best way to manage multiple clients with multiple programs so ChatGPT can build its knowledge related to each client without mixing them up or having to re-upload basic client info for each application?
Yeah, so I customize a GPT around every client that I have. And then if I'm working on a project for that client, that's the GPT that I use. The really cool thing is that I didn't talk about this because that's a whole other workshop about the basics, but it never forgets. And that's why I love it. So although you're treating it like it's a colleague or someone you're onboarding, it's not human in the sense that you go back to it 7 weeks later, now you have another project from this client, and you don't have to say, hey, do you remember doing this and that? It's going to remember. You can even ask it, hey, can you remind me where we left off? Because I've done that because I can't remember. So it's really worth it because it only takes a few minutes to create a knowledge base. So it's really worth it to do it for every client. Yeah. And then because when I have to do summaries, like work summaries for my clients, sometimes I forget what I've even done, which I know I shouldn't do that, but I'll go back in and say, hey, can you can you tell me what I did? Can you help me with my report for my client? And wow, it's amazing what I do.
Yeah, that's incredible. I love that too. Someone else just mentioned that as well of like, what did we talk about at that meeting? And it's like, oh, great, I have those notes ready to go.
Oh yeah, here's something else that's brand new with ChatGPT. For some people, they're kind of beta testing it now. But if you're on a team membership, so at the very bottom, you can view plans and you can go like a development team, like 20 bucks, whatever for a team for everyone, which for 20 bucks a person. But you can use chat in your meetings now where it's a little different than Otter and stuff because it will number one, it will sort everything for you. It will go back and say, okay, what did we talk about? What's important? How does it relate to this other project? It draws
Mhm.
in everything. It's quite extraordinary, but that's another workshop.
We'll need you back for, I think Mary was saying, for parts 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, we're gonna have you on retainer all summer. Okay. Let's see. Daphne said people recommend using ChatGPT to draft work. Danette also shares that it's a great editor. Can those who use ChatGPT regularly and well share how it looks to use ChatGPT to draft narratives and then do the final edit? Or should users be avoiding it as the final reviewer at all cost? What's your take on that?
No, I think you should use it. I think you should use it for everything. When you start to customize a GPT, it knows your work really well. Anytime I have it edit anything for me, I always say, note any changes you've made. So that way I'm becoming a better writer. 2 years ago, when I started having to edit my grants for me, it would have a lot of changes it made. Sometimes I was blown away by switching a paragraph to a word I was more effective. But now because I kept learning, it made me better and better and better. Now when it reviews it, it'll say, hey, this is great. I just have one suggestion. So have it list the changes at the end and have it draft for you. Obviously, you're gonna want to input the human sides, the stories, and things like that. But no, have it drafted. And I like to have it draft. So once I upload an LOI or RFP and I'll say, okay, tell me, how does this align with our mission? Tell me which funding priority we align with. It will tell me, and then I'll say, okay, draft a statement of need for me. It will draft a statement of need using the funder's language. I did this with a client of mine. They were insistent on using this grant to, believe it or not, for a playground. And we all know playgrounds are so hard to fund, right? I said, just please run it through and let's see what else you qualify for. So she did, and it completely aligned with their literacy program, which was a way better chance of getting funded, and they got the grant. But with the human mind, she right away just went to the playground. So yeah, I guess use it for everything. Yeah.
That's the takeaway. We can use it for everything.
Yeah.
Okay,
I get
Mark.
so excited. I apologize, but
No, I love it. Margaret asked a good question. Have you found ChatGPT to be helpful with Excel budgets? I have found it makes too many mistakes. What's your take on using ChatGPT in budgeting?
Yeah, so that's a very, very good question. I know, is she using the upgraded version or
That's a
not?
good question. Margaret, I think you probably are, but
You probably are. Yeah, so I haven't noticed mistakes on mine. I really love it to do budget stuff. I'll put in numbers. That's another thing you can do if you're upgraded is insert budget numbers, and you can insert like the funder's budget template and have it put the numbers into the template as a start. Then you can, improve it. I haven't noticed any problems. I'd be really curious. You can contact me separately about your inputs. It must be an input issue if you're having those problems. Yeah.
yeah, that's something we could. I put Danette's contact information in the chat. So if folks want to reach out to Danette about any specific questions, I know she loves nerding out about all this stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe two more questions here, and then if folks have other ones that are coming up for them, please feel free to drop them in the chat. Francine had asked, could you explain more about how you use ChatGPT to align your funder mission with your project or client from your instrumental search? Can you talk about like your workflow there, Danette, when you're
Yes.
putting information into ChatGPT and then going to instrumental?
Yes. So let's say like with the nursery that I work for, so I have a customized GPT around that, and I'll use Instrumental to find my leads. And once I find the lead, and what I love about Instrumental is that that's a real busy work. We all know trying to find a lead, going through all the 1099s and all that, not fun. So once they line it for me, and I think, well, this looks pretty good. I'll get more information. Either I'll go on the website if that's provided through Instrumental or whatever they have. And then I will upload that. I'll open up my customized GPT and I'll work from that. And I'll upload the grant that they found and say, please tell me if we qualify for any of this funding opportunities with this grant. If we do, tell me how, provide detail, don't fictionalize. And then that's what would do it. So it saves me a lot of time because I'm confident that when I pull a grant lead from Instrumental, that it's a good match. I don't have to worry about, because we're very specific, Hennepin County, Minneapolis. I know that it's going to be helping, that it will fund a Hennepin County project. So that's how I use it. Does that make sense? Does it answer your question?
Totally. Yeah. So you're essentially saying Instrumental is doing the work of narrowing down your
Yeah.
potential, funding opportunities. But then rather than go through the 339 grants that I've just pulled
Yeah.
in that example, you're then going through and saying, ChatGPT, help me analyze and ensure that
Yeah,
this.
I'll take the one grant and
Yeah.
I'll upload it and have it
Yeah.
aligned for me. Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. Francine says yes. Great.
Yeah.
Um, Okay, one other question. I think we answered this, Chrissy. You had asked kind of, she said, I had used my free version of ChatGPT to evaluate my proposal as if it was the funder. It was very helpful.
Mhm.
Why would you say that is, why would you then say you should still upgrade to the paid version, essentially?
Okay, so I think that, I don't know if I have a handout for that, but we have a slide about the handout because can you find that slide that we had with why you should upgrade? Because there's so many reasons. Number one, you can build a knowledge base. It's always there. It never forgets. You never run out of memory. You can upload 20 different things. It's not going to forget. It's all in one place versus on the side. Um, yeah, just for the file uploads alone, and you always have access to the latest. If you're just using the chat, you're likely not using the latest and greatest that they have out there. There's lots of times when you upgrade and you click under where it's a chat 4.0, you'll get a chance to beta test. I know that when 5 comes out, you're going to be able to beta test from there as well. So yeah, I mean, for $20 a month, it's the smart. I mean, it's what is that? 2 cups of coffee at Starbucks. It's really, really worth it. I just say like, I don't get a penny from that, but in good conscience, it will enhance every part of your life, every
Yeah.
part.
Yeah, I hear you there. And Zen actually added in the chat, I have been reviewing grant applications for months, and it is getting very easy to tell who is using the free chat GPT level and those who don't. Very
Oh
true.
yeah, Zen's great. I know Zen from the Grant Writing Boss Club. Yeah. She knows her
Love
stuff.
that.
Hi, Zen. Yeah, she's right about that. Yep. And remember too when you're using it to be polite, you'll get much better output as well.
Yeah. No, that's really great. There's so much here, and I loved seeing everyone's enthusiasm and excitement about learning something new. I think that's something that we can carry with us through this week. We're embracing new tools that are appearing, and we want to be able to support each other, carry each other as grant writers in this space. So thank you so much, Jeanette. You are such a wealth of knowledge.
No, it was fun. And thanks everyone for taking time. Thanks for your important work. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You guys matter
Yeah.
very much.
Absolutely. We're so grateful to you all. We hope to do more of these. If you liked this type of series, this is our third in our AI series this spring. We'd love to provide more things like this if this is really speaking to folks. So let us know in the feedback form what you think. As soon as you exit Zoom, that'll pop up for you and you'll be automatically entered into our raffle. Otherwise, love spending time with all of you. Great to see some familiar names in the room. Jeanette, thanks again.
Thanks, Rachel.
And we'll see you all next time.
Bye.
Bye, everybody. Thank you. See you later.
Bye.
Bye.